I'm so excited to introduce to you Sue Frederick. I've never met you before. And that's what's exciting, to be on here
I
together and to
know.
see you.
I
And I
really
know what
want to meet you, Deborah. I'm so impressed with you.
I'm so excited. Like, I know we have mutual friends and we were going to get together before. There was a hesitance, like I was not supposed to meet you yet. And I really believe it was because I didn't want to know anything about you.
Right.
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 And who knew that we would end up having a healing session together? That wasn't something that we were even thinking about.
Mm.
But let me introduce you to everyone, because I'm so excited. So you're an author of Water Oaks, The Happiness of Longing, Your Divine Lens, Bringing Bridges to Heaven, True Stories of Loved Ones on the Other Side, and I See Your Dream Job, and I See Your Soulmate. These are awesome titles, and it makes me just want to read them by saying them. I'm like, Your Dream Job and See Your Soulmate. Wow, that's quite the title there. So
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm so excited to have this conversation with you about your healing session. And for those of you that don't know about me, about my healing sessions, I do private and I do distant. And you had a private distant once.
Yes.
And what that means is I knew a little bit of something about you. You had emailed me and said that you were experiencing some pain in the pancreatic area.
Right. Right.
And so when I receive information, normally I don't receive anything at all, but sometimes people want to say it is what it is, and that's okay too.
Mhm.
But I don't like to limit it to just that,
Right. Right.
because we don't know where it's coming from, what the cause is, and I don't want to mentally just be thinking about that. I want to remove my humanness and just allow spirit, the divine, the
Mhm.
highest God, to take over. So there's some fabulous things that transpired. While I was doing the healing session, I'm in my healing room and you're in your sacred place.
Yes.
And we're not talking at all. I am just recording this. So
Mhm.
while I was having my experience for you, as I was becoming your proxy, I might see loved ones, I might see spirit, I might see spiritual surgeons. Can you tell us what you felt on your end?
Yes. Well, let me just tell you, I just got to love on you for a minute, Deborah. You know, I've believed in Reiki for decades, so I'm very familiar with that kind of Reiki energy healing and all that, and I'm very open to it. So that kind of probably helped a little bit because I was totally all in. But then I heard from you, from friends about you and how you worked. And I thought, oh my God, that's profound. So I really wanted to experience it. And then the other thing was, I was really terrified of a pain that I had been having that had gotten more and more intense. And some of you may, if you know me, I've lost so many loved ones to cancer, and I really have a lot of fear and trauma around cancer. And
Mhm.
so when I reached out to Debra, you know, and I felt her energy, she's just pure love. And I just want any listener to know that this is an angel of love here.
Oh,
And so when I did my session, she says, she just sent an email and said, okay, you're scheduled for this certain time. You know, if you can try to, you know, honor that time and just see how you see what you feel. So I laid down during that hour and I just thought, you know, I'll just kind of look out the window at the sky and just be present and see what happens. Well, I was sort of put into an out of body experience pretty quickly where I felt so lifted above my life. And I got all of this amazing insight and awareness that we only get when we're sort of lifted out of our everyday mind. But then the most profound things were I started to feel places in my body that I described at the moment as, for example, pinching and then
mhm.
warm and tingly. And I made note, you know, of specific sensations, not knowing at all what was going on Deborah's end. And that hour, just that hour, without even hearing from her, for me, was amazing because I remember when it was over, I didn't even want to get up. I was still laying there going, wow, I feel, if I put the right word to it, I felt uplifted from my mundane monkey mind view of life. in touch with my higher self, my soul, or we can say God, consciousness, whatever words feel right, and definitely loved on. And then I heard from Debra. Debra, do you want to tell what you do next?
Well, it was fascinating to hear that. It's, because I don't always hear back from people and to hear what their experience was. And there's two things. In my book, Proof of Miracles, that you're seeing behind me, that does talk about what people have felt at the same time I'm feeling it. So I was feeling that pinching. But as I feel it, I share it, I voice it so that you are going to be able to hear what you were feeling, I was feeling, right? And so, talk about the fear of cancer. I need to do this little plug because I had cancer too. And that is a fear. It's a fear of the unknown. So I wrote the book, Doctor's Faith and Courage, and how I walk through it for any of those that are going through it to remove the fear and come from faith, right? And from love. But going into this, I knew that you had that scare. You had said, I want to have this done before I go have an MRI.
Yeah.
I thought that was really, really cool. Why? Because you are already saying, I don't want this label.
Right.
Right? I don't want to be labeled with this. And many people are like, well, I want the diagnosis. I want to know what's causing my pain. When I had an illness back in 2012, they could diagnose me. And I always wondered, well, what was that? Will I experience that again? But it was my greatest gift because I know I don't say I have. And that's the one thing with you. You had the healing now and can say, I no longer have. Right. And so you're standing in that. So then what transpires after? I go through the motions, I'm feeling healing, and then I send it to you. Yeah. And during that session, one of the most profound things that I think happened is we took a spiritual journey. Yeah. I never felt like they described this waterfalls and it described this, it was like a big pool, but it wasn't like a huge, lake or anything. It was just this pool, this private pool. The water was like, we don't see it here. Right. The feeling of it going through me was as if it was cleansing and blessing me. And I just wanted to remain there. And I kept trying to express it over and over in the MP4s. This is so beautiful. This is pretty, and it's hard to explain what you're visioning and experiencing so that you can also be in that vision with me, right? That I take you on the spiritual journey. It was the most blissful, peaceful place. So tell me about that.
I have to talk about this because all my life, and I'm a very intuitive, sensitive person, and that's actually kind of how I make my living, is doing intuitive work. But all my life, I've had this place that I've been taken to at night, not often, but a few pivotal moments in my life when I've needed some kind of healing or refreshing. I get brought to this place that looks like it's the most beautiful spot in nature you could ever imagine. And the way I describe it to my friends is that there's these 3 pools and they're all connected by waterfalls. And I'm actually brought there in my dreams by a guide or someone who says, okay, you can swim in here now. And they kind of stand there because I'm not allowed to stay that long. And I'm pretty sure it's because it really is in the divine realms and it's a healing place and you're not allowed to stay, but all you want to do is stay. It's the most amazing place. And I just kind of swim in that water. And then I even swim up the waterfalls and go to the next one and then the next one. And then I'm always begging to stay when the guide or whoever it is in the dream says, no, you've got to go. And then I wake up. And that place has been like, whenever I'm there, I feel like, oh, this is my home. This is where I belong. And I hadn't been there for a while. And you took me there in your healing of me, and you didn't even know about this place.
I know, it was so, the way you describe it, I wanted to stay in that water, right? It was, and it wasn't like it was cold, warm. It was just perfect.
Right.
Everything was perfect.
It's
And so when you emailed me and said, well, I've gone to that place since I was little, I was like, what? Huh? You've been there? So not only did we go there together, but
right,
God knows where you have been.
right.
And he took you to this safe place that
Yep.
you've always called home.
Yep.
And we were able to share it together. It
That was
doesn't get any
amazing.
more profound
Deborah,
than that, right?
nobody has ever shared that space with me but you, and I'm honored.
Oh, I'm honored. Like, that's what happens in these sessions. You don't know where you're going. You
Right,
don't know what's going to happen. And then when I send it, I don't know how you're going to feel. So
right.
that feedback, that vision, that spiritual journey that you take all the time, that is so real, was real. And I was able to validate that for
Yeah,
you
that's amazing.
by us going on that journey together. And I'm telling you, when I read it, I was like, fall off my seat. Like,
Yeah,
oh my God, are you serious? And it just made, it's like, it just made
right.
everything else become real.
Yeah, it validates it. But the other thing is, I mean, even without that, Deborah, once I listened to the recording, you
Yes.
started describing, like, moment by moment, exactly what I had been going through in my body, laying there in my bed, looking at the sky. I had, made note of the pinching, and instantly you used the words pinching. You said, they're pinching. I feel my pancreas and all that area feels pinched, and it's even painful. I was experiencing that exact thing, using the word pinching for me. And then you followed that by saying, and now it feels warm and tingly. And that's exactly what I was making note of, saying, now it's kind of moved to a warm and tingly. And by going back and listening to that recording, I was so blown away, because you go to a Reiki healer, you go to other healers, and it's nice and everything, but this was like a whole nother level, where what amazed me about you is that you, and I hope this doesn't embarrass you, but it's like you put your body on the table and offer it up for healing and become the
No,
channel of that
exactly.
healing,
Exactly. So prior to the session, I sit in prayer holding your picture, and I ask that I be God's instrument and vessel. And I asked for my humanness and ego to be placed aside, so that I knew that you had this issue. I placed that into God's hands and said, I don't want to limitless this. I want it to be emotionally, physically, spiritually, body, mind, and soul. I give this and ask for healing for you, stating your name. And then you just let go, and I become your proxy. Yeah. And to be able to feel and see and know, it's like you want to voice this to as many people as you can, because it's a technique no one's using. And it was given to me when I crossed over to come back with. And it's like, for you to say the profound feelings you're feeling, I'm so grateful that you're willing to be vulnerable and share your voice, because it is that
is.
miraculous.
And Deborah, I gotta say, I mean, I grew up Catholic, and I would always hear about these healings and miraculous healings, and and I prayed to the Virgin Mary all the time, and sometimes I would ask for that. But my experience with you reminded me somehow of that feeling of having a profound mystical healing that's way above just working with energy. I mean, you use the word God, and I don't ever want to make people uncomfortable by using the word God,
Exactly.
but it felt like God.
Well,
It felt like God was touching me and sort of saying, okay, you got to be here a little longer. You got some more work to do. So let's fix all this stuff so you can stay.
well, what's interesting too is I use the term God, and I tell people it can be divine, it can be source, it can be love, it can be whatever you want, because I believe he
Right.
comes in the form for us to recognize.
Right.
So I say God because everybody's familiar with that.
Right.
And that's just the term I feel very connected with.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but what else I found interesting is he went to issues, past issues you had,
Yeah.
present issues, and then even the pancreas, not knowing if it was the pancreas, not knowing what was really going on, not having an MRI or diagnosis, but he went to other issues to
My
make it
foot.
even more real,
My
right? So
foot, Deborah.
yes, yes.
So I hadn't told Debra this, but 2 years ago, I had pretty severely broken my left foot. And at the time when that happened, I was diagnosed with osteoporosis, and it took 6 months to heal my foot. And to this day, it would still kind of ache. And I'd even noticed lately that it was kind of aching a lot, but I didn't mention that to Debra because I didn't feel that important. And at some part in the healing session, God is working right on that foot. And she goes, the left foot, and she's working on it. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And of course, I've had no pain or aching in that foot ever
Oh,
since.
isn't that amazing? Like I feel it exactly. I'm able to
Right,
describe not just like, oh, it's in this area. It like
right,
they get very detailed,
right.
right?
That was what blew me away, was all of your detail. Your
Oh,
detail was profound.
and you can see me, I'm thinking as I'm talking, right? We're just kind of what do we do next? When in a healing session, I'm talking constantly. It's just flowing, flowing, flowing. There's no interruptions. I mean, there's a lot going on. I'm seeing spirit. We're going on spiritual journeys. The body's still being healed. I'm feeling pain. I'm describing. And it's like when you're done, you're like, wow.
Well, I was worried about you hearing all that. I was like, God, I hope after she's gone through all that, she's okay,
Oh, that's sweet. Um, I do a little cleansing, and I pray that I'm taking this on for now, but when the session's over, it's no longer part of me.
Right,
Now, with that said, we are human. Any
right.
kind of job that we do, we get tired, right? If we
You
work
do.
hard.
Yeah,
So I do at times get very, very drained. And that's why I only do one session a day,
yeah.
because I honor you and I want you to continue to heal throughout the
Right,
whole day.
right.
And then I get to honor me. What does that mean? Like, go eat something healthy, maybe take a
Yes.
walk, maybe get exercise. So it's important for people to know there's boundaries and balance for
Yeah,
this.
definitely.
So tell us, how are you feeling today?
Well, I got to tell you the whole miracle of afterwards. So that happened. We did our session on a Thursday, and I went to sleep and actually had an amazing night's sleep that night. But then Friday, that area was really sore. Like, I remember telling my husband, Gene, it actually feels like I just had surgery, and it kind of scared me because it was like worse than it had been. And
Right.
Gene was going, well, just, if it really was a spiritual surgery, you got to give it a day or something and see what
Oh,
happens.
wow.
And so that day, I'm thinking, oh my God, like what happened here? And I was willing to just be in it and trust that, all the work they did on that area, if it had been real and spiritual surgery, then it should be sore. And
That's
so
right.
by the next day, I woke up. I'll never forget. I was laying in bed that morning, and Gene was there having coffee. And I said, I don't want to get up. And he said, why? I said, the pain is gone.
Oh,
And
wow.
I said, I'm afraid to get up because I'm afraid it'll come back. And so I got up, and that pain was totally gone. And it's no exaggeration to
Wow.
say that hadn't happened. Probably this had been building and kind of growing for several months. And when I woke up that next day, Saturday, and it was gone, it was like something I hadn't even realized how much it had been bothering me.
Isn't
So,
that amazing? Like some people will have that after effect of feeling. Some people won't feel anything at all and go, okay, that was great. But I feel when you feel it, God was for you saying, you can't deny what you're
right,
going through.
right.
This was a real surgery. And I tell people, honor your body afterwards, because you want to, if you're tired, go home, rest, allow your healing to continue to heal. And you were doing that. But to be able to feel the pinching before, have the tenderness after, and then it be completely gone. You went through the entire healing process.
I did. And I also want to say to anybody listening who's thinking about do it, of course I'm going to go get a scan, and I have that on the calendar. But to be able to go get a scan with that pain completely gone feels totally different. Like I'm now in control and my body is healing itself. And I am not going desperately for a diagnosis, and in a state of fear. Like that is gone now. Whatever it is or was, I feel now that I got this and that I can walk through this in a whole different way, if it's nothing or something, because I know I've been healed in the way I need to be healed for whatever it is I'm facing.
And that's beautiful. You said that so beautiful. I like to always say, okay, now I had my healing. So now we're going to go show God's proof.
Right.
Right. So you already had my back for the healing. So let's do this together and let's go get the scans and have the proof.
Exactly.
And so it's almost like I'm excited for this to see the proof.
I know.
Rather than, oh my gosh, I don't know.
I know it changes
see.
the energy completely. Like I was in such a state of fear, that if I'd gone for the scan, I really believe I was making it worse with my fear. And, and I was kind of creating the situation to be worse. And because I had that pain, every time the pain would hurt, I'd get more afraid. I was in this awful loop. And now and that's the other thing I want to say is so many other parts of my body feel better. It is a full body healing, as you say, because, I'm turning 70 tomorrow and my body has so many pieces of aging showing up. And to do this right before my 70th birthday, I just wish everyone could experience this healing for a birthday present, because you suddenly just feel younger, you have more energy. Like I'm now happy about going to my 70th birthday because I'm feeling good, I'm feeling energized. And so thank you, Debra. Your gift is profound.
We raised that vibration. We fine-tuned you, your meridians, your strands, emotionally, physically, rewiring you. And so your vibration's higher, your light is brighter. When you walk in that room for your birthday, they're going to go, whoa, you look great. That's going to be awesome. Wow, you're beautiful. You would never even know.
No, Debra, it's the lighting. You and I have talked about this. It is just the lighting.
Oh, well, you know what? Whether it's the lighting or not, I can feel the beauty of your soul. And that's where it comes, walking in gratitude, walking with spirit, walking in that higher vibration of which I feel you do. It shows you resonate that love.
Well, you have pure love too. And I think, when we reach a certain level of our consciousness evolution, we realize that we're really just here to love in whatever form that takes for each of us. And, I work with clients every day too, doing a lot of intense intuitive work. And, and honestly, I've had to cut it down to one client a day, just like you said,
See,
but I also kind of feel like your session, kind of healed me of spending 20 years working intensely intuitively with clients. No matter how much inner work you do, no matter how much meditation, at some point you begin to carry some of that. And what you did for me was really kind of lift me above it, take me back to the magic pools, help me wash off that energy and just hit the reset button.
Yeah, we just dunked you, right? Yes. And we just let it all fall off. But I'll never forget that place. And so it's something that we shared together and we'll always cherish together. And we have a story together.
Yes.
And that's what these sessions do. They kind of put an imprint in my heart, like, because they're so profound. Now, I can't remember everything that happens in the session for people because it comes in and it goes out.
Right.
But there's certain times where it's like that light bulb goes, oh yeah, I remember that space, you know, oh, I remember going there, seeing that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm so glad that you were able to share your journey, your experience, for others to know that it's available for them too, right? That you don't have to, some people will be like, well, do I have to be really, really sick? You're saying like, no, look, it even helped me in my work. It even helped raise
Yes,
my energy. It helped
it
me
did.
have awareness and things that I didn't know. Or
Absolutely.
maybe we're healing things so that you don't have things show up
Yes.
later, right?
And maybe everybody needs to do this on their birthday.
Birthday gift.
Yes, cleanse
Yes.
the past year, hit the reset button for the new year.
Well, I want to thank you, Sue, for sharing your story. I will put at the end of this podcast all your information so
Thank
people
you.
can get a hold of you, because you're doing some great work to help people as well. And we want to spread the word.
Aw, well, it's an honor to know you, and I really look forward to meeting you in person soon.
Oh, yeah. Now we can.
Yes.
All right. Till we meet again. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you,
God bless.
sweetheart. God bless.